Hello world, I'm Denise. Thank you for joining me under my vine and fig tree, and welcome to our 100th video. I'm so excited today. This is a very special occasion for me, although I have to admit that I've cheated a little bit in that almost half of the videos are hymns and songs, but I have needed to do that in order to keep the channel ticking over while I was getting other content ready and prepared. So thank you so much. I'm recording this video on a very special day, which is the 2nd of July of 2025. And the reason it's special, it's day 183 of this year, meaning 182 days have passed already. And from tomorrow, there are another 182 days left of this year. So we're slap bang right in the middle of 2025. The title of today's video is Faith versus the Tower of Babel. And I want to show you something so exciting that the Lord has shown me and I've found to be foundational to many other concepts that I've encountered subsequently. So do you recall God's instruction to Adam and Eve when he created them in the Garden of Eden? Verse 28, God blessed them, said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and every living creature that moves on the ground." And in verse 29, he says, "I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it, they will be yours for food." So we have this instruction of go, and he's going to take care of them. And that's in the very beginning. So we hop across then to Genesis chapter 11. You know that is the account of the Tower of Babel. And look what these people did in verses 1 to 5. Now the whole earth had one language and a common speech. As men moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there. They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and make them thoroughly." They used brick instead of stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves and not be scattered over the face of the whole earth." Now, there's something interesting here. Was that their purpose, to stop and make a tower and settle there and make a name for themselves? No, we know, and we can say with confidence that God had a different plan, because we can see it in the prophets. If we go and look at the book of Habakkuk and Isaiah, in Habakkuk 2 verse 14 it says, "For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the sea." Now, does that Tower of Babel have any way of filling the earth with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord if they're all stuck in one place? No, and more than that, they were making a name for themselves, not for the Lord. The book of Isaiah also, in Isaiah 11 verse 9, puts across the same point. "They will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea." So this was God's purpose, for the knowledge of the Lord to be over the whole earth. And so, rather interestingly, these people of the Tower of Babel, you never see a name there. This is a nameless group of people, right? So look what God does to them. He says, "But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower that the men were building. The Lord said, if as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language, so they will not understand each other." So the Lord scattered them from there over all the earth. That is why it was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of the whole world. From there the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. So they got scattered over the whole earth now, but they couldn't share the knowledge of the glory of the Lord with each other because they couldn't understand each other. That was to come later. I want to contrast another group of people in another chapter 11. So this was chapter 11 of Genesis. Let's leap across into the New Testament to chapter 11 of the book of Hebrews. You know this chapter, it is the account, or it is account of the heroes of the Old Testament, heroes of the faith, and there it is called the Faith Hall of Fame. And so those who are listed there By faith, Abel offered a better sacrifice than Cain. By faith, Enoch was taken from this life, so he could not experience death. By faith, Noah, when warned, he built a boat. By faith, Abraham obeyed, and he left where he lived. By faith, Abraham, when tested, he offered Isaac as a sacrifice. By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau regarding their future. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of Joseph's sons. By faith, Joseph, when his end was near, spoke about the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt. By faith, Moses' parents hid him for 3 months after he was born. By faith, Moses, when he had grown up, refused to be known as son of Pharaoh's daughter. By faith, he left Egypt, not fearing the king's anger. By faith, he kept the Passover. By faith, the people passed through the Red Sea. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell after the people marched around them for 7 days. By faith, the prostitute Rahab, because she welcomed the spies, was not killed. And others are listed there also: Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, and the prophets. And so this beautiful hall of fame, these were people who acted in obedience to God. They acted by faith when things didn't look logical, they didn't look like they made any sense, but they acted in faithful obedience to God. And so contrast that picture of the Tower of Babel. So in verse 6 of Hebrews 11, it says, "And without faith it is impossible to please God." And so I believe that what happened at the Tower of Babel was a lack of faith. That if the people had the kind of faith that pleases God, they would have continued on. They wouldn't have settled there. They wouldn't have decided to make a name for themselves, because they would have loved God more, and they would have gone on and obeyed his instruction. And so what happened then at that Tower of Babel is a picture of what can happen when we are facing worldly troubles, when we don't lean on our faith first. If we see troubles coming and we go to God and say, "Lord, we've got a problem. Please, would you help us, guide us, show us what it is we should do?" That is a faith response. But all too often, humanity gangs together, or they get together and they say, "Well, we need to have our voices heard." And there's this great clamoring, and they'll put forward petitions and all kinds of other activities, and they'll call it democracy or whatever activity. They'll put these man-centered activities together to drive a result that is all in man's strength. And to my mind, that is the equivalent of building a Tower of Babel, because they are making a name for themselves. They're doing it in their own name by their own strength. It's a better way in leaning on the Lord first. And he may well tell you to build something or whatever, but go to the Lord first. And so I'd like to conclude with those lines from Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 12 to 14. He says, "Woe to him who builds a city with bloodshed and establishes a town by crime. Has not the Lord Almighty determined that the people's labor is only fuel for the fire, that the nations exhaust themselves for nothing? For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the sea." And as I said, this is foundational to many other concepts coming in. And so this number 11 is actually a theme that connects to faith, and faith that pleases God, or lack of faith that displeases God. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you found that interesting, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos. God bless. Thank you. Take care.